So achievement gap number 2, which is the one I've been more focused on in my efforts, is the gap within the United States between low-income minority students and their more affluent peers. This is the NAEP test for 4th graders reading. There's probably nothing more fundamental than being able to read by age 10, for Pete's sake. And so this shows that among all black and all Latino, not inner city, low income, this is all, about 54% of black, 54% of Latino students are testing below basic, the lowest score. There are 4 measures. There's below basic, basic, proficient, and advanced. Below basic on the NAEP test, this is a really low level. This means that by age 10 you're a struggling reader, in many cases barely literate, struggling to read see-spot run. And if you can't read by 4th grade, the studies show that you don't read very many books that year because you're a struggling reader and you fall further behind. So there are cascading negative effects, but good readers read a lot of books that year and every year afterward, and so there are virtuous effects. So it's there's really nothing more fundamental than being able to be a proficient reader, certainly by age 10. And I haven't seen studies correlating this. I've seen enough studies, and you can sort of piece together. But if you can't read in 4th grade, these basically half of the students, I will bet my last dollar, are all your high school dropouts, your entire welfare population, your entire prison population. It's almost game over. Frighteningly enough, if you can't read in 4th grade, it is almost game over. And unless those 4th graders, probably 2 years below grade level at this point at least, unless something changes and they luck out and they get into a KIPP charter school or some high-performing school that changes what's going on, it's game over by 4th grade. So let's look at what happens over time. The achievement gaps simply widen every year students are in school. And here's the story by 12th grade. Here are your NAEP cohorts for black, Latino, and white students. And you might say, well, wait, the achievement gap is closed. Those look pretty similar to me, right? And until you realize what I'm showing you here is black and Latino 12th graders, and this is the half that are still in school, of course, your top half, and white 8th graders. So by 12th grade, the average black and Latino student in this country, again, not low income, not inner city, all are reading, and this is the sort of the top half that hasn't yet dropped out, are reading and doing math at the level of white 8th graders. Now you can see, well, why is there a college dropout crisis? I'll show you in a moment. Well, if you're doing 8th grade level work, you are not ready for college, not even close. And even if you can afford to go to college and get into a college, you're never going to be able to cut it. I have an 8th grader at home. She's probably a couple years above grade level. The idea of sending her to college today is just preposterous, right? So big picture. If you combine all the studies, I sort of threw this together. What does this show? The average black and Latino child in this country enters kindergarten 1 year below white students, and that can be explained 100% by a handful of socioeconomic characteristics, income, number of books in the home, mother's age at the birth of the first child, half dozen characteristics. If you normalize for that, there is no achievement gap. But the moment they start school, every year the achievement gap widens. In fact, the first months of school, the achievement gap starts to widen. And roughly speaking, the studies, the data shows that black and Latino students progress 3/4 of a year every year, and white students progress 1 grade level every year. So the achievement gap widens by 1 year every 4 years. So that by 4th grade, it's a 2-year achievement gap. By 8th grade, it's a 3-year achievement gap. And as I just showed you, by 12th grade, it's a 4-year achievement gap. So what do I happen to be on the board of KIPP, and one of the reasons I'm inspired by what KIPP and other high-performing schools do is they, for our middle schools, most of our schools, we take students finishing 4th grade, on average 2 years below grade level, and we accelerate that. We totally reverse what's going on here. We impart more than 1 grade level per year because we have to, because we've got to catch them up and close that gap and actually reverse the gap, such that over 4 years our schools are imparting 6 to 8 years of knowledge, and they're exiting 8th grade above grade level. We've not only closed the achievement gap, but we've reversed it. And 85% of these kids are going to 4-year colleges, and about 80% of those are graduating from 4-year colleges, among a demographic of students where maybe 5% would ever get a 4-year college degree. 65% of our kids are getting 4-year college degrees. That's fairly miraculous. It's never been done before at any scale. And we as a nation have spent trillions of dollars trying to close the achievement gap with virtually nothing to show for it over the past 40 years. I'll show you some data on that in a moment, but here's the gaps in high school graduation rates by ethnicity. And big picture, nationally, about 500,000 Black and Latino 10th graders are in schools nationally. About 400,000 are in 12th grade. About 300,000 get a high school diploma. About 2/3 of African American, only about 1/3 of Latinos go to college, and painfully few ever get a 4-year college degree. In fact, of Black high school graduates, only 28% will ever get a 4-year college degree. Only 16% of Latino high school graduates will get a 4-year college degree. So if you look at it by income rather than ethnicity, you can see that over the past 40 years, the folks in the top quartile, the top 25% of income, they're virtually all children of top quartile households now get 4-year college degrees, about 80%. That's doubled. The second quartile's doubled as well, from about 15 to 30%, but an enormous drop-off. And then the bottom half of the U.S. population, by income, virtually no children are getting 4-year college degrees. It's gone up a little bit, but it's hideously low. So why is it? And some people might say, well, it's affordability. Lower income households, the kids can't afford to go to school. But in fact, what this shows is of all the high school graduates each year, this is the number, so that's all of them. This is the number that have taken a rigorous college preparatory curriculum and are ready to go to college. And this is the number who go to college. And as you can see, everybody who's ready for college is going to college. And that's true of every ethnicity. The problem is this gap. It's this gap that so few of our high school students, particularly minorities, are getting are prepared for college, are getting a proper high school education. So almost half the students who enter college need remedial courses. Only 21% of students, based on ACT scores, are ready for college-level work in all 4 areas: reading, writing, math, and biology. Nearly half of all students who begin higher education start at a community college. They all say that they're going to transfer and get a 4-year college degree. Almost none do. So what are the costs of this? Well, obviously there's the huge financial cost. We've spent so much more money and gotten virtually nothing for it. U.S. industry is spending $25 billion a year on remediation. High school dropouts, as I showed you earlier, more likely to be unemployed, earn lower wages, more likely to end up on welfare, more likely to be single parents. 52% of males who fail to finish high school, father a child out of wedlock, have children at a younger age, and are more likely to become criminals, end up in jail or dead. 82% of America's prisoners are high school dropouts. 80% of prison inmates are functionally illiterate. 52% of African American men who fail to finish high school end up in prison at some point in their lives. Catastrophic consequences from the failure of our students to be educated properly.